The Ohio Supreme Court recently suspended a judge indefinitely, removing her from the Cleveland Municipal Court bench. Judge Pinkey Carr had over 100 counts of misconduct, and she blamed it all on menopause and sleep apnea. Take a second to make sure that you're subscribed to the channel. Click the notification bell for all updates. If you're watching from Cleveland, be sure to let me know below. Drop Cleveland in the comments. Judge Pinkey Carr has a lengthy history of public service. She was elected as a Cleveland judge on November 8, 2011, formally entering the court on January 3, 2012. The judge, born and raised in Cleveland, she was the youngest of 4 siblings and grew up in the Harvard Mills neighborhood. She graduated from John F. Kennedy High School and Baldwin Wallace College, where her major was political science and double minors business administration and communications. She received her 4-year degree in political science in 1987. She went on to law school at Cleveland Marshall College of Law, graduated in 1992, and was admitted by the Ohio Bar in May 1993. During her 18-year legal career, she worked as a prosecutor for the city and the county for about 13 out of those 18 years, and named County Prosecutor of the Year in 2009. After years of serving as a prosecutor, then judge, in October 22, the Ohio Supreme Court ordered the judge to undergo evaluations of her mental and physical health in addition to an indefinite suspension, removing her as a judge and prohibiting her from practicing law. The court ruled that Judge Carr engaged in unprecedented misconduct, addressing more than 100 stipulated incidents that occurred over a period of roughly 2 years and included repeated acts of dishonesty, the blatant and systemic disregard of due process, the law, court orders, local rules, disrespectful treatment of court staff and litigants, as well as the abuse of capious warrants and the court's contempt power. Now, it's important to note that allegations of misbehavior against Ohio judges and attorneys are handled by the Ohio State Supreme Court's Office of Disciplinary Counsel. Judge Carr's attorney, he pushed for a 2-year suspension, but the disciplinary counsel believed that an indefinite suspension was more appropriate. The situation that sparked an investigation, initially bringing Carr's misconduct to light, it occurred back in March 2020, at the beginning of the pandemic. There was a mandate that shut down all public offices, but while everyone else shut down, Judge Carr insisted on keeping her courtroom open. The people that she said was brave enough to show up, she did not punish them at all. In fact, she rewarded them by dismissing their cases in their favor. The ones who didn't show up, she issued warrants to arrest them, although the court was supposed to be canceled. A lot of the attorneys and other court administrators told those defendants that there would not be court due to the recent shutdown. Now here's the worst part. For the ones who didn't show up to court, Judge Carr established warrants and bail amounts of $5,000 and $10,000. Then when she was confronted about what she was doing, she lied about it.
The person is not here, as I've noted all week. Corona. Day 3.
Because of health risks, Cleveland's administrative court has issued an order that all hearings for defendants who are not in jail have been postponed. So why is Judge Carr's courtroom still open for all business?
Docket number 31, bond is set at $2,500.
It's a question on the mind of Assistant Public Defender Mark Jablonski.
Is the court having a docket tomorrow?
Oh yeah, nothing stopped for me. My cases go on.
Does that apply to jails only?
No, anyone that shows up. Not everybody watches the news. I actually had people yesterday. I had people today. Yeah, I'm not going to do that to people.
If we are able to get a hold of any of our clients who are scheduled for tomorrow who are not in jail, can we tell them to communicate?
No.
So the court's administrative order regarding continues?
I'm here. If people show up, I'm here. So no, don't call people and tell them not to show up. If they show up, I'm here.
But this judge isn't just allowing people to show up, she's punishing those who don't. In the preceding days, she'd issued several arrest warrants, which in court terminology is known as a capious.
Capious, bond is set at $5,000. If officer present, no defendant, capious will be issued.
Continuing his exchange regarding the order, Jablonski asked the judge about her position one last time.
Yeah, don't do that.
No, yes, sir.
Hi, for the third time. I will be here if people show up. I am here. Okay, thank you. Okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
Minutes later, after 7 okays, Jablonski exits the courtroom. But Judge Carr, still apparently baffled by the attorney's question about postponing his client's hearings, discusses it with her staff.
I'm like, stop it. Not everybody watch the news. Wait, I'm gonna call him and tell him don't come. I'm sure he is. Look, idiot.
The judge had once sentenced a woman to 15 days in jail after she rolled her eyes at her. Carr reprimanded the woman, held a contempt hearing from which she neglected to withdraw. The judge also altered entries that claimed city prosecutors were participating after she made plea deals with defendants on behalf of the prosecutors behind their backs when they weren't there, and then she lied about them being aware or a part of the deal. This is something that courts will constitute as falsification. The judge repeatedly lied, forged court documents, and put out illegitimate arrest warrants on defendants. Her courtroom was described as a game show. She would often use her birthday or other people's birthdays and holidays to determine sentencing. One time, she told a defendant that she was going to suspend their fines and court costs because they both knew the same guy. That guy's birthday was on May 26, the same as the judge's best friend's birthday. Then there was another case where she waived a fine because the defendant's birthday was 9 days before Valentine's Day. All of this, by the way, on court record. The disciplinary council also ruled that Judge Carr was out of order for often wearing spandex shorts, tank tops, and sneakers on the bench, and loud prominent necklaces and other pieces of jewelry. It was so bad that one time a defendant showed up for court one day, saw her dressed like a regular civilian, and called their attorney because he was looking for the judge and didn't believe that Judge Carr was the judge because of the way that she was dressed. She told the man that she dressed in professional clothing on Monday through Wednesday, and she wanted to wear whatever she wanted to wear for the rest of the week. The judge was kind of like a hoarder as well. She conducted court from a bench covered by an array of dolls, cups, and junk novelty items and trinkets. And on one occasion, the judge openly discussed a TV show called P-Valley, which is about a Mississippi strip club. She told the court that her P-Valley name was going to be Passion and that she had to go through a class so she could learn how to climb the pole. And then she referred to her bailiff as Miss Pudding from P-Valley. There were so many instances of misconduct and complaints about the judge frequently insulting defendants and defense lawyers. So after a couple of years of being investigated, when Judge Carr appeared before the state Supreme Court, she admitted to everything. She didn't deny anything. Instead, she attempted to justify her behavior as a result of mental illness brought on by improperly treated sleep apnea and menopause. Judge Carr was subjected to the second most severe penalty that may be given to a lawyer or judge for ethical transgressions. The Supreme Court also issued a stop and desist on her legal practice, banning her from the courtroom as a judge and stopping her from practicing law altogether. The sentence is the harshest punishment the court is able to impose, short of disbarment. This means that although she's been removed from the bench and she will miss the opportunity for re-election, Carr will be able to ask the court to reinstate her license after 2 years. But here's the catch. They will only do so if she can persuade the justices that the problems that caused the court to suspend her license have been adequately resolved. Then from there, she can try to get elected again, which is probably unlikely, or she can open her own practice, maybe become a defense attorney, which will really be a big shot at her ego, going from a judge to a defense attorney. You know, the same folks that she berated in court.
The Cleveland judge who blamed Menopause on 100 counts of alleged misconduct has been removed from the bench.
State House reporter Morgan Trow first reported on Judge Pinkey Carr's hearing at the Ohio Supreme Court in April, and today they came to a decision.
She spoke with someone who had previously filed a complaint against the judge and got a response from Carr's legal team, too.
I was often mocked, laughed at.
The behavior of a Cleveland Municipal Court judge put her job in jeopardy.
The way she scolded me, yelled at me.
Minnie Burkhalter is one of the dozens of Clevelanders to accuse Judge Pinkey Carr of misconduct during her hearings. Burkhalter says the judge ignored her evidence in a case involving bankruptcy.
I felt almost less than a human, honestly. And I felt hopeless about it.
But she has a spark of hope, and that's because the Ohio Supreme Court's Tuesday morning decision held immediate consequences. The justices indefinitely suspended Carr's law license. In a 5-2 ruling, the majority said Carr's unprecedented behavior of more than 100 counts of misconduct, including sending someone to jail for rolling their eyes, demonstrated her abuse of power. The justices also disregarded the former judge's reasoning behind her actions.
Menopause, sleep apnea, mental health issues. Do you think that the justices didn't see those as sufficient enough reasons?
Well, she was not being appropriately treated for those conditions. We're disappointed in the sanction.
Carr's attorney Rich Koblantz has never tried to excuse the judge's behavior, rather explaining why things went wrong. But he also says he was set up to fail. He took on the case after it was abandoned by another team just 2 weeks before one of the hearings.
I would have liked to have had sufficient time to have done the development we wanted relative to the evidence.
An indefinite suspension isn't as severe as it sounds. Carr is able to reapply for her law license in 2 years if she proves to the Supreme Court she has dealt with her issues. Koblantz says he assumes she will be reapplying.
I'm glad that she is no longer going to be abusing her discretion in court.
As for Burkhalter, she took her case to an appellate court and won, dismissing Carr's penalties toward her at the Ohio Supreme Court.
Judge Carr tried to file an appeal, but the Supreme Court appellant judges declined to hear the case. Her lawyer, Richard Koblantz, expressed disappointment with the severity of the punishment. He claimed that since Carr expressed regret for her actions and acknowledged all wrongdoing, that she should have had a lighter punishment. As for her courtroom, the Ohio governor will select someone to fill the seat. That person will be the interim judge until voters are able to vote in another judge. And unfortunately for Judge Carr, the legal issues are not over yet. The state is looking into all of the claims to determine if there's sufficient evidence to prosecute Carr with a felony. So here's the thing, Judge Carr admitted to everything. She's not denying any of it, but she tried to justify her behavior by saying that it was caused by mental illness, sleep apnea, and menopause. I'm saying though, if you're too mentally ill to be a judge today, why should the people of Cleveland trust her to be any better 2 years from now? That's just way too much authority for a person who's going to be handing over sentences or waiving punishment based on holidays, birthdays, or if she's in a good mood or not based on her sleep issues or menopause. It just sounds crazy. Very unstable. And then Judge Carr, she was thinking that she could come to work any type of way. I'm sorry, what judge is wearing shorts and tank tops on the bench while presiding over cases? People really think because it's 2022, they can do whatever they want. They think you don't have to follow rules or protocol. Well, I'm here to tell you, you do. Some people think her punishment is harsh, but to me, what's harsh is issuing warrants for people's arrest during the pandemic when the court was supposed to be shut down. A lot of those people told that court was canceled. They had warrants on them that they didn't even know about. Just think about getting pulled over for something minor. Next thing you know, you're in jail, having to put up extra money to get out. On top of that, being charged extra court fees for nothing. I think that's harsh. They had to put up with all of that just because this lady wanted to come to work, and being at home and not having anybody to talk crap to was basically going to drive her insane. I just don't understand how you can get a position like this and then carry on like you're on the Real Housewives of Atlanta or The Price is Right. Judge Carr knew she was out of order. She just didn't think that she would be held accountable for it because she's a judge. My thing is, why did it take over 100 complaints for a judge to be investigated? And then how many other judges are out there with all these complaints of misconduct that's being swept under the rug? Just think about it. If she didn't issue those warrants on those people during the pandemic, she would probably still be on the bench right now. Judge Carr thought that she was untouchable because of that robe that she barely wanted to wear. She used to joke in court about accepting kickbacks for fines or how she would give more lenient sentencing in exchange for food, drinks, carpeting for her house, or storage space. It's just embarrassing. But let's go ahead and get the conversation started below in the comments. Do you believe that her indefinite suspension is enough? Or do you think that she should have been disbarred? Special thank you to my sister Keita G. I appreciate you, Keita, for always showing your support for the channel, as well as our brother Dark Power. And shout out to everybody who sent this story in. Our sister Ash, John, Netpasia, Dwight, and Julius. Don't forget that you can support this channel as well. Links to Cash App and PayPal are below. Ladies, fellas, want a balanced analysis, want the truth from a woman's perspective? Then you're going to want to subscribe to this channel, and don't forget to like and share.